My prayer for us all as I retell the story by Robert Matthews is that we would remember that God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. A few weeks before September 11th, my wife and I found out that we were going to have our first child. She planned a trip to California to visit her sister. On our way to the airport, we prayed that God would grant her a safe trip and be with her. Shortly after I said amen, we both heard a loud pop and the car shook violently. We had blown a tire. I replaced it as quickly as I could, but we still missed her flight. We were very upset and drove home. A few hours later, I received a call from my father, who was a retired New York Fire Department firefighter. He asked for my wife's flight number, but I explained that we had missed the flight. After I gave him the number, he told me their flight was the one that crashed into the southern tower. I was too shocked to speak. He also had more news for me. He said he was going to help. I can't just sit by. I have to do something, he said. Of course, I was concerned for his safety, but even more because he had never given his life to Christ. After a brief debate, I knew his mind was made up. Before he got off the phone, he said, "Take good care of my grandchild." Those were the last words I ever heard my father say. He died helping in the rescue effort. My joy that the prayer for my wife's safety had been answered quickly would soon turn to anger. I was angry at God, at my father, and at myself. For nearly 2 years, I blamed God for taking my father away. My son would never know his grandfather. My father had never accepted Christ, and I never got to say goodbye. About 2 months ago, I was sitting at home with my wife and our son. There was a knock at the door. I looked at my wife, but I could tell she wasn't expecting anyone. I opened it to find a young couple standing there with a small child. The man looked at me and asked if my father's name was Jake Matthews. I told him it was. He quickly grabbed my hand and said, "I never got the chance to meet your father, but it's an honor to meet his son." He explained that his wife had worked in the World Trade Center and had been caught inside after the attack. She was pregnant, and my father had found her pinned under the debris. He was able to help her, set her free. My eyes welled with tears as I thought of my father giving his life for this young woman. The young man said, "There's something else you need to know." His wife then told me that as my father worked to free her, she spoke to him and led him to Christ. I began sobbing at the news. When their baby boy was born, they named him Jacob Matthew in honor of my father who gave his life so that this mother and this child could live. Now I know that when I get to heaven, my father will be standing beside Jesus to welcome me, and that this family will be able to thank him themselves.